A very, very good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Shop on TV with me, Rob Locke, with an E. And that's the smart solution for your radiator that we are going to be featuring tonight on tonight's show, or today's show, or this morning's show. I never know what to call it. Hope you're extremely well. Stay tuned, and we could be helping you to save up to 22% on your energy or your heating bills. And when it comes to saving money, there's one person I know that is always the go-to, because if he can't save a penny or five, then nobody can. It's Alan Ennis.
Yay!
Hello,
Brother. How's it
brother,
and good.
friend,
Yes,
and related, affectionate
yeah.
nomenclatures.
Yes. Good morning.
How are you?
Everybody? So, no, really good. Do you know, this is one of the things that I've been looking forward to doing on the show. And I tell you why I've been excited about it. Because it is so simple, but yet so effective, and is going to do so much for you. And this little thing in my hand here has the most incredible backstory to it. And I want to tell you, it's made in Holland, and I want to tell you why they vowed not to ever have it made anywhere but Holland. And there's a most beautiful reason for it, which I'll tell you in a little while. And I can't wait to tell, because I haven't even told you this. Okay?
Well, can I add something in that little bit of video?
Yes,
because
sir.
it, again, made in Holland, it did have a European plug on it. Yours will come with a UK plug, obviously. We're giving you a twin pack. So one pack comes with two. It's a duo set. You get two. So you get 4 fans in total, or essentially 2 radiators, or if you've got really big radiators, we'll talk about how you use it, how many you need, etc. £159.99, massive saving, £40 off, and also you can pay using PayPal Pay in 3 if you wish to spread the cost. So stay there, stay tuned, maybe have a pencil or a pen and a bit of paper handy to try and figure out how many of these you might need, because I think that what you could save potentially could end up ultimately paying for the product. Well, in the end.
Let me give you the stat on that, and I haven't even talked about and shown you how it works yet, or told you this beautiful story. But when you buy this for the average house, this will have itself paid for in 2 years. Now you might say 2 years, that's a long time, but this unit, in each of the units you get, are guaranteed for 10 years. I was talking
so you get 8 years,
8 years
of free usage of it,
free usage of it,
not including the electricity bill.
The thing is, well, actually, here's an interesting thing. The average, now again, this is average, okay, and I will say that to run this for a year, because it uses so little electricity, 32 pence a year.
32 pence a year.
It uses just the tiniest amount of electricity.
Now, also, we will explain to you how and why you can achieve up to 22% savings. Obviously, there are caveats. It depends on the home that it depends on the size of the... Oh, excuse me, mic's gone. Alan, over to you.
His microphone is gone. You probably heard him through my one. But what Rob was just saying there, he said, is that the caveat to this is we're going to talk to you about how to do this, how this will save you up to 22%. In electricity cost, or we shouldn't say electricity cost, because gas radiators that you're using your boiler and stuff like that. Energy up to 22%, and it does it silently as well. Now, the great thing about this is this has been designed and made in Holland, and what this does is, unlike some of the radiator fans you see that go on top, and then as the air convects up, it then fires it forward. What this does is it fires it up from the bottom. So it goes on the bottom of your radiator, and I'll show you that in just a second, okay? And once it's underneath it, then it's got its own thermostat, and I'm going to show you that and how it operates in just a moment as well. And it turns itself on and off to maximize the amount of heat. So it's not firing cold air around as your radiator is heating up. What it's doing is it's waiting, and then when it knows, and I'm going to show you all this, I promise you, that it's up to temperature and it's now good to go to turn this on, it turns itself on and then makes that air circulate around the room. Thus, here's some of the benefits, right? Number one, it will heat your room faster. In fact, up to twice as fast it will reach the temperature. Secondly, what it will also do for you is it will save you, and it can save you up to 22% in fuel bills as well. And they say to me as well, I was talking to the guys in Holland about this, and they said that actually with this, and you have these in your home and you use them correctly, that it's also, it's not only going to save you 22%, up to 22%, it's not only going to heat your room quicker, but it's going to make it so that you can turn your thermostat down by maybe 1 or 2 degrees and still experience that same comfort. And that's why they call this speed comfort, because it's all about the comfort in your room. And I want to show you a couple of things with this. So if you notice, as I do that, you can see those little arms fall down just here, okay? And if you'll see that there, and if I turn it that way, you'll see them falling from the bottom, okay? And the reason for that is that when you put this into situ underneath your radiator, between the front and the back of it, these will automatically pop out and magnetize themselves to your radiator and hold itself in position. Now, what I found is the radiators in my house are too narrow for this to go up inside of. So what you do, if that is the case, is you simply pull that off, twist it around, and pop it in like so. Take this one out, and now what it will do is it will allow you to move that in the inside. So now you grab it from the inside, and this will hang from the bottom. So you'll see this at the bottom of the radiator. So clever and thoughtful.
By the way,
yes, I did notice.
And I think the last thing I heard you say was about, I think I mentioned savings of electricity, but of course it's gas as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
which I think you've covered all of that.
Yes.
By the way, isn't he great? In March, Alan's going to be taking over the hot seat for a couple of days while I go off on a jolly.
On a jolly.
That's right, yeah. But carry on. In fact, I'm just going to sit back and relax and watch the presentation.
So what I'm going to do is, because I haven't told you any of this, I was telling the guys the story of where this is made and how it's made and why it's going to stay being made in Holland. I'll tell you that in a minute, but I want to show you something really important. So this is a radiator that I brought in today, okay, and this is set up ready to go with the speed comfort, okay? Yeah. Now, if we look underneath here, let me just bring this forward and tilt it for you. You will see the speed comfort underneath just there. Now,
what is what have you gone through the sizes of
not
you're
yet.
going to do that?
I wanted you to be here so we can go through this. Now, you'll see this one here. So these are basically radiators 50 centimeters to 120 centimeters. Each pack will do. So if you've got a single or a double radiator, you're absolutely fine. This is you've got enough.
Fine.
So if we see this, okay, when we take this out, you can see those magnets, as I mentioned to you a second ago. So as I put that in, can you see the magnets grabbing hold? And then as I push it in, can you see the way they
yeah.
So now that's held in place. So I'll push this up here. And by the way, these little fellows here, these little keys are little spacers that if you needed to space it between underneath of the radiator and keep it down a little bit, you can do that.
So the only difference is if the slot's too narrow, then you turn the magnets around and it sticks on the inside and it just hangs at the bottom.
It'll sit here at the bottom and it will catch. So that's done. So now what's wonderful about this is, and let me show you this, and this is where they've thought about this, and this is why this is so clever. If we look here, we have 2 inlets just here, okay? So this is your little power, okay, inlets just here. So I'll turn it around to show you, okay? Now, what you have those for is your main power cable, okay, which I'll plug out of this one, okay, and I'll show you this, to go in. So once you put this in, you don't have to go, oh, which one was the power again? So if I put it in the wrong one, I'm going to short it. It doesn't matter. You can put it in here, or you can put it in here. Yeah. And then the other one is for your thermostat. Let me just grab the thermostat off of this radiator just here as well and show you that. So now the thermostat goes into the other one.
So it doesn't matter which way round they go.
Doesn't matter which way. It's been engineered in such a way that they both work, okay?
Amazing.
Now watch this, okay? Now you'll see the fans just there. If I take the thermostat out, you'll see those fans are working. Yeah. Now you might say, but Alan, you said they turn on and off with the thermostat. Well, actually, they do. But as an override, if you want to have this just turned on and not rely on the thermostat, which I don't recommend doing because you will get more energy efficiency when you use the thermostat on it, and I'll show you that in a second, it works. But watch this, the minute I plug the thermostat in, the unit is so clever, you can see that they stop.
Unless it's at the temperature that the thermostat is set to.
And this is the thermostat just here. This goes onto the side of your radiator. You've got your magnets, okay, just here. And what will happen then is this is the thermostat. This will be reading the heat and the temperature.
Oh, so that tells if the radiator is on.
Is on.
So when the radiator's on, it knows to turn the fan. It
knows because this then, the unit will know the heat and it expands inside and then closes the circuit, and it tells this that it's now up to temperature, and then the fans will turn on. And I'm going to show you that in just a second. I've got a little demonstration to show you. Now the great thing about it is if you remember this, okay, so if we think about our radiator, let me turn it around so it's a little bit prettier around here. If you think about it, when this comes on and it gets hot, the heat around it will convect out, of course. It will come out to the room.
Yes.
But If you go over to where the radiator is, it's much warmer than it is over there.
Yeah, because heat rises as well.
Heat rises and it stays around. So what you have then is you have a lot more heat here, but less heat over there. And usually where the thermostat is not exactly where there's a radiator, because it can't be, because if the thermostat was over a radiator, it would turn itself off really quickly.
Yeah, for sure.
So it has to be on the opposite side. So what we want to do is we want to get the room up to temperature quicker, and we want evenly,
yes.
And we want that thermostat then to go, actually, I'm up the temperature here, so now it will turn itself off, thus turning the boiler off, so therefore saving energy.
Yeah, because if the thermostat's in a different part of the room that's reading the temperature and the radiator's all the way over there, to get it the room up to the temperature the thermostat can read, it's actually cranking the radiator up to a higher temperature. Whereas if the heat is efficiently getting to the thermostat because it's being circulated, then it doesn't have to crank the radiator so high.
Exactly.
I kind of get it now.
It's not working so hard. So it's not like saying, come on, give me the thermostat's going, I need this heat, I need this heat, I need to be able to turn off, I need the room to be at 21 degrees. So it's pumping into the power into this. Now with the Speed Comfort, what it's doing is with those fans, which are practically silent as well, and I'll show you that in just a second, and let you hear that.
Yeah.
It's pushing that air, it's drawing it in from underneath and pushing it up through the fins. You see those fins inside there? And then that's what's going to convect that heat for you, okay? So it's passing the air up through that, and as the air goes up, it gets warmer.
That means because cool air is at the bottom and hotter, so it's drawing the air from the whole room.
Yes.
And as you say, it's constantly circulating all the air in the room, so you don't just get a hot spot. Because what's a hot spot? Not
a good, that's strike it. Look, I love that.
Yeah.
So it's sending out that air, it's circulating it around. Now here's another little brilliant piece about this. When your thermostat then says, okay, I now have reached my temperature, whether it be 19, 20, 21 degrees, okay, and I do recommend you can turn it down a couple of degrees, try that yourself when you get home. What also then continues to happen is, if if your boiler's been turned off, what will happen is this will still retain heat, but that heat stays in this locality here. So what will happen is that your Speed Comfort will continue to use the fans while there's heat in here.
Right, until the radiator's cool again.
Sending that
so it could actually keep the room warmer for longer.
It will can keep it warmer for longer.
They do recommend that, don't they, that once these are installed, you can turn the actual thermostat down by a couple of degrees, but also that you can go and turn the temperature down on the boiler itself. On the boiler itself down, because so potentially you're using less gas. Unless, I mean, I don't have gas in my house. It's all electricity, but I do have a thermostat, so I can turn that down.
And this is really, really going to help. And it's silent and it's practically invisible, especially if it goes up inside your radiator. If it does have to hang at the bottom, remember, change over those. And it says on the thing, change over the magnets, and it will just grab them from up here and it will just hang down a piece.
And also, what I love about this is it runs off of a regular plug. And also, you only need one plug. Now, you can daisy chain these, because there is on the side of each unit, apart from obviously where your thermostat and where your power lead goes, there is an extension socket, so you can actually have as many of these. If you've got a really long radiator, then you could maybe use 3 of these, or even 4 if it's really massive.
Exactly.
You know, any size. Sorry, go ahead.
No, carry on.
Well, I just wanted to find out what radiators won't it work with, and what are the sizes of radiators that it will work with.
Okay, single, double, 50 centimetres to 120 centimetres, which are the radiators you get in the houses. It will work on all of them pretty much, because the narrower ones, you can still use it. You can use it on...
But just not the single blade
If you've got a single blade radiator, it won't go, because it needs somewhere to catch on to.
Yes,
By the way, we must say a big hello to my lovely wife, Ellie, who...
hello, Ellie.
My brother, Pat, who's over from Ireland to visit me. He's there as well. My daughter, Jessie May, and Marissa as well. So they're all watching. Hi, guys!
The entire clan.
I know.
And I have to say, Ellie does, knowing Alan as I do and have for a long time, she deserves some kind of award.
Oh, now I have to live with that now. She's going to bring that up all the time. So what I'm going to show you here is, okay, so this is plugged in.
It's official now. It's been on TV.
I'm to see how quickly I'm going back to my sale.
Yeah.
Can you see that they're turning now, okay? Which camera will we get this on? Right, over here we'll go. We'll turn this around to you just here. So you'll see they're working, because I don't have the thermostat plugged in, okay? So they're on and they're working. But the minute I plug in the thermostat, you will see they stop.
Yeah.
Now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this thermostat on. I need something magnetic to this here. At the moment, there's nothing in there.
Something ferric.
But I am going to put in some hot water from this kettle, okay? Now watch what happens, okay? When I bring this up here, you will see...
Watch the fans.
Watch the fans.
Watch the fans.
So that is now replicating hot water in a radiator. And
hey!
So that thermostat has now done its job because it's known, and that's replicating the hot water or the hot oil going through the radiator.
Yeah.
It's picked up the fact that it's hot, and it's immediately turned that on.
And
so
that will, as soon as that cools down, the fans will keep going until it's cooled.
Until it's cooled down.
I love the afterburn on this, because when I turn the radiator off, I imagine you can turn the central heating off sooner, because you get it up to a temperature. Then you can even turn it off completely, because it's going to take a good amount of time for the radiator to cool down.
And it's
but you've still got that warm air being circulated everywhere. Because my radiator, in my living room, when I sit in front of the TV, the radiator's right next to me. So, you know, to heat, I stand in the kitchen, which is over that way, and it's freezing cold. You go over by the radiator, and it's, you know, it's like a furnace. And, but then as soon as I turn the central heating off, within almost minutes, it starts to get cold again.
Okay, what does hot air do?
Rises.
No, it heats people up. No, I'm joking. It rises. You're absolutely right. So what happens is all of this heat goes up, and it gets up to the ceiling and it stays there.
Yeah.
Whereas when you have the Speed Comfort, it's blowing that air up, and it's not a gale force. Please don't think it's going to but it's blowing that air up, and it's disturbing it. It's moving it around your room, so therefore it's moving that room, that air. So it's not becoming stagnant hot air up there. Right. It's making that move, and therefore coming down and around. So it really is super, super efficient.
Well, also, maybe in your bedroom, your radiator's not even that close to your bed, and you find you have to really crank up the temperature.
Yeah, just to get it
to come over to you. This will help.
Here's a brilliant thing. Do you know the way they say it to you all the time is never leave your TV on standby? Don't leave this on standby. Don't leave that on standby. Turn them off, turn them off, turn them off. Because what happens when they're left in standby? They're using electricity. Okay?
Yes.
Even though it's only a little amount. These here, when these are not actually turned on like this and they're in standby mode, they use zero.
Zero electricity.
Zero electricity. And that's why around 30 to 40p per year on average to run this for you, because it uses so little, tiny amount of electricity.
Amazing.
But I want to tell you something, okay? I've got to tell you this story. Rob, you're going to love this, okay?
Please.
So I was chatting to the guys over at Speed Comfort the other day, okay? And I got the most gorgeous story from them. And this really, really made me go, wow, okay? So this here, this unit, they started to make these in Holland. And they promised that they would never, ever move the manufacturing of this from Holland for this reason. Now, first of all, by the way, every component on this is of the highest quality. These are hand assembled. And here comes the story, okay? The factory where these are made, the 40 people working on the production line are all special needs. People who cannot find jobs in the normal the normal
employment market.
Yes, that's what I'm looking for. And what the company where they make these are, they look after them so well, and they choose their own hours when they want to work. The workers do, and they decide, and they have the most incredible workforce. And the guys were saying when they go in there, it is the happiest place in the world. It's incredible, all handmade.
Made with
and they
love.
said made with love. They want to be able to do that, and that's why they will never move it from Holland for that reason, and that for me is amazing.
This is one of those stories. I love stories like that. But in fact, have a look at it. You're going to love this animation.
I've not seen this.
Oh, this is so nice. In fact, it's got some love. Do you know? Why don't we play the music with it? It's so nice. I love that. Isn't that amazing?
It's pretty awesome, isn't it?
I was going to say, this is one of those products that's, God, I wish I'd thought of that. It's so obvious. The one thing that radiators lack, is the ability, because there are different types of heat. There's radiated heat, which is what radiators do. There's convection, and there's another one, I forget. But you have to, without a fan, the air is not circulated. Yeah. It comes from the radiator, it goes up in the air. Now, some of it will naturally migrate, but still not efficiently. This is the bit of the radiator that's been missing all those years.
All those years. And this company that make this are the ones who came up with the concept for the very first, before anybody else, of moving the air from the radiator, and this is their latest incarnation.
Which is what fan heaters and things like that do.
They do, yeah.
Often you can get from a smaller fan heater, you can get better results than from your central heating system. But also your central heating system, I bet you've got it cranked up higher than it potentially needs to be, because obviously you're trying to heat an entire room from one location, which has no built-in means other than natural, sort of convection of getting to the place that you want it.
Yeah.
So this solves that problem. Now, I want to just talk about the fact, $159.99, so that gets you 4 of these. So if you've got single radiators, then that's 4 radiators that this is going to cover. If you've got double radiators, then you would recommend 2 for a double radiator,
yes,
right?
one box, 2 of them.
One box, 2 of them. So if you have double radiators all around your home, then in the rooms that you want to have this more efficient heating, maybe you would buy a box for each of those. You can calculate how many roughly you need. If you do need a third, then you can, it would have to be a really large radiator though, wouldn't it, if you needed 3 of them in there?
Yeah, a huge radiator, but you can, let's
daisy chain as many as you like.
Let me do this for you. Let me do an unboxing for you, okay? So when you get this, you get 2 boxes, okay?
Yeah.
And each box contains 2. So I want to show you, because this is a great opportunity to show you, of course, the UK plug as well.
Yes, yes.
So what we do is we'll open this up just here, like so, and inside, the first thing we see is our UK plug.
Aha.
Okay? Now, the cable on this is quite a long cable, but they also recognize that it might not be long enough. You might not have a plug socket close enough. So I'll show you something in a minute. So that's your UK plug. As you can see, goes into the side of your unit. Pop that just there. Then next, what we will take out of here is number 1, speed comfort, just here. And then number 2, speed comfort. I'll just put that there. And then inside is your thermostat, just here. Okay. And I showed you how that works a little bit earlier on.
Yep.
And then you have a little extension cable for joining them as well. So this is what's going to join them or give you an extra little bit of length. So if you want to join them, that's great.
Yep.
And again, I'll show you how to join them. So what we do is when we look inside here, we will see that we have on the end of each one a blue socket just here. And you will see that the end of this here fits it, like so.
Yep.
I'll just let that get a little bit closer so you understand. And then all I do is I plug that in, like so, like that. And then I connect it. Remember the power cable at the other end. And I just plug that in here. And then the power from this one here also runs this one.
And that can be neatly concealed, of course, under the bottom of the radiator
underneath
as well,
the bottom,
because it's the right kind of length. In fact, if there's a question of how much space do you put between them, the cable really sort of does the spacing for you.
Absolutely it does. And if it's a little bit, just push them together a little bit. It's absolutely fine to do that. But we also give you a cable tie as well. That comes with it. But you're getting this, as I said, this is your extension cable as well. So you get 2. You get that as well in here. So you get everything that you need inside here in each one. So you can use this for 2 separate small radiators or 1 larger radiator. So from 50 to 120 centimeter radiators. So you can, as I say, have 1 or 2. If you have a huge radiator, I would say use 2 of them. But if you use 1 on it, you're still going to get benefit. But
so it depends also on the footage, the cubic footage of the room as well, doesn't it?
Of course, there's a few. But if you're going to have a double radiator, of course that's a double radiator.
2 are going to fit. Yeah.
Every radiator that's in a room it's in there. And they have to put in the right amount of radiator to heat that room. So if you've got 1 big radiator, that needs to be big to heat that room. So you're using 2 of them. And then remember, it will, just as a little recap, so it will use minimal electricity, I reckon 30 to 40p a year.
Right. Okay. No electricity when it's not working.
When it's not working, nothing on standby. Second of all, then what it does is it can heat up the room up to 50% quicker reach temperature. That means your thermostat's going off even quicker.
Say that again, Alan.
It can heat up the room up to 50% faster than if you weren't using it.
Wow.
So that means your thermostat couldn't go off up to 50% quicker which means you're saving that time.
I can see why, because the radiator starts to warm up. Even when it's a little bit warm, you get no benefits anywhere else in the room. But that little bit of warmth can be circulated and start to heat the whole room.
It's starting to heat the whole room
This
quicker.
is to help you get an entire heat, an even temperature across the entire room.
A more comfortable environment to be in, because everyone is enjoying the same heat around the room.
Yeah.
It makes the whole room more even in terms of temperature. And then next one is that once it turns off quicker, up to 50% quicker, they say, you're saving on fuel there, you're saving money. And then when the thermostat turns itself off, of course, that's now waiting for the temperature of the room to drop. Let's say you set it at 21, to drop below 21, it will turn itself on again. But with the residual heat on this, if you're not using this, that heat is staying this side of the room. So that means the thermostat side will get cooler a little bit quicker. But this is using the residual heat and still circulating that residual heat around the room, which means the thermostat can stay off longer and then before it has to wake itself up.
Or I mean, you know,
saving.
Half an hour before you go to bed, you could turn it off, really everything off if you wanted to, half an hour before you go to bed.
Yeah, but it should do all that itself anyway, especially on the timers.
No, I meant the actual central heating.
Yeah.
Because then you can just use the residual heat to keep warming the room until the radiator.
Till the radiators go. But again, that should do that anyway, because you're going to set your radiators on a timer.
Right.
And if it turns itself off at, let's say, 9 o'clock, your switch off time is. If this turns itself off, if you know the thermostat goes off at 20 to 9, well, this might keep it going, and it might not turn itself back on, and then 9 o'clock comes, it's off anyway. But you will keep getting the benefit of it. But here's the great thing about these as well, right? They're practically silent. Okay, you hear little or nothing from them. But once you have those in position, when you buy these, you have a 10-year guarantee with them. So 10 years, you don't have to worry about a thing. 10 whole years. But statistically, they had all of this calculated. They said that the average person using these correctly, obviously putting 2 on large radiators, will find, and it will have paid for itself in 2 years. Amazing. They're guaranteeing it for 10 years. And actually, they were so honest when I spoke to them, okay, the guys in Holland, that they actually said that in tests, right, the length of life of these is actually 14 years.
Wow.
But they're guaranteeing them for 10 of those years.
That is extraordinary. And what I love about it, so if you own your own home, then this is obviously a semi-permanent feature. But if you rent, what I love about this is that when you move out, you can take these and go. Take it with you. Let's also discuss the fact up to 22% energy savings. So that's not just electricity, but that's also gas if you've got a gas boiler. So to explain the 22% savings, there was actually a scientific study done on this to back up these claims. So what that relies on is the type of home that you have, obviously, and whether you have insulation or you don't have insulation. There are certain criteria that can change the efficiency with which your home retains heat, right? I think we all know that. The second caveat is that you have enough, that you use enough of these for them to work. So in other words, if you have a radiator in your room that's a double radiator, make sure you put 2 in there rather than just 1 kind of thing. And also the fact that you turn down the thermostat by a couple of degrees, because they're saying that with these speed comforts, you can turn the thermostat. So if you normally heat your room at 22 degrees, or 23.5, I think, I'd have to heat my living room at 23.5 degrees because I've got a lounge and a kitchen all in one. And for it to get even vaguely warm close to the kitchen, you have to really crank it up high. So I could now turn that down to sort of 21 degrees, turn it down by a couple of degrees. So that's saving you energy by doing that. But also you could even, if it's regular radiators and you have the thermostat on the radiator, you can turn it down a couple of degrees as well if you don't have a central thermostat. But also the boiler itself, you could potentially turn down the heat of the water, the amount of heating that the boiler is doing itself by a couple of degrees too, or turn the gas down a little bit, basically, wouldn't it be? So you're potentially saving money on gas, you're potentially saving money across the board. And if with those criteria satisfied, the research, the study discovered that you can save up to 22% of your energy bill by using Speed Comfort. That to me is a side bonus. Great. It's a side benefit, if you will. If we save a bit of money, awesome. But if it's money we were going to spend anyway before we even knew about Speed Comfort, then it's money you would have already spent anyway, right? But what this does for me, and I think for you as well, I think the hugest benefit here, apart from the potential energy savings, is the fact that it circulates the hot air around the whole room. Cold air sits on the floor, hot air rises to the ceiling. It's just a fact. It's a factor of science, of physics. A normal radiator radiates heat, so it goes up and it goes up towards the ceiling. There's nothing drawing cold air in, it's just heating the ambient air around it. Now that does create convection current, so you get a certain amount of circulation, but it is by no means an efficient source. That's why wherever you have a radiator, you have a hot spot right next to the radiator and around the radiator, and the rest of the room gets colder and colder the further away you go. So maybe you've got a radiator through lounge or something, and you're sitting in your dining room freezing your whatsits off because the radiator's 10 feet away. This is going to but when it draws the air in through the fan, it's not just doing it from immediately by the radiator, it'll pull that air from the whole room. And then it pushes it up, and so you get specific circulation of the air, the hot air, the heated air that you're paying for, and it gives you it's designed to give you a much more even heat across the entire room. It immediately adds a layer of efficiency that no radiator that I'm aware of has ever been built with. Why they never built radiators with fans in them, I don't know. When you think about it, isn't it obvious? It's so obvious, Alan, isn't it?
It really is, very much so. And this really does...
It's really busy out there. I think the penny's dropping. I know it's $159.99, but remember, they are guaranteed for 10 years, and the research has shown that these could, with the energy savings, pay for themselves within 2 years. Yeah. So essentially you get 8 years of additional usage without, for the cost of what you're paying.
And continuing to save.
And continuing to save as well. $159.99. So remember, any radiator that has a gap in it, and we'll cover the sizes. And by the way, if you've got any questions, we're live. It says it right there. Oh no, it doesn't. It says it right there. So if you want to ask Alan any questions, then please email studio@shopontv.co.uk. He'll happily answer them for you. It's a real quality product. It's made and built to last. And at the end of the day, it's there to save you money.
I really loved it, genuinely loved it.
I honestly, when I first heard about this, I thought, what? But actually, to be perfectly frank with you, as we're discussing it now, the penny's dropping I think for both of us. It's like, hang on, this is filling, it's completing the radiator. Yeah. The fundamental flaw of a radiator is it doesn't have active circulation built into it.
I have been using them in the house. Now, what we're living in the house we're living in has an arch between the living room and the dining room, and then there's the kitchen. It's all an open.
Yes.
Like that. And this is no kidding. I would never say anything to you that I haven't lived with, and like I can tell you absolutely about having it there. The kitchen doesn't have any radiators in it, and we find that when we're in the living room, it's lovely and warm, especially if you're sitting near the radiator. The dining room is warm, but then it's freezing in the kitchen. Yeah. And by having these in there, I genuinely have found that it's circulating that air, and it's just more pleasant everywhere in the house. The hallway doesn't have a radiator in it, and again, that is more pleasant to be in. The landing doesn't have a radiator, and it's more pleasant when you go upstairs. So you're not walking through cold spots because it's circulating that air around for you. And of course, drawing in. Now you might think to yourself, well, if I put that on the top of the radiator, it's going to do the same job. It's not, because you put it underneath, so it draws in that cooler air. So it's drawing in the cool air from the floors, bringing that in, because that's cool air, and bringing it up and heating it, and more effectively heating all of the air in the room, and therefore sending it out and heating the room quicker, more evenly. It's much more comfortable, and that's why it's called a speed comfort. It does it speedily, and it's more comfortable.
Just absolutely brilliant. So once you've heated your home, the one thing that you want to potentially avoid is it being too moist or too damp or too humidity. Do you know, I love Florida. I lived in Florida for a number of years, and I would happily retire in Orlando and just spend the rest of my life riding roller coasters. But the one thing that after 4 years of living in Florida, I got to the point where I just want to go to the shop and come home and not have to change my clothes and have a shower because of the humidity. So we have a solution for that as well.
Yeah, well,
and we have an amazing bargain deal.
Right, okay, now this will be new to me because I never know the price of things before I get here, so I'm really excited about this.
Well, it's Abso Dry. Now, you may have seen this featured previously where we offered one. Well, tonight we are offering you a twin pack of the Abso Dries. Normally $199.99. You're getting them for $159.99. Comes in 4 different colours. Grey, pink, green and blue, and we also have PayPal Pay in 3 available, so if you want to spread the cost interest-free over 3 months, then you can apply for that online. Just select PayPal when you check out on our website, shopontv.co.uk.
Of course, we're not going to get to it. We're going to excite them in a second about that price, because that price is, you see what it actually is.
Wait till you,
wait till your father gets. Your father gets.
Why don't we show them now?
Let's show them. It's honestly, you might see that and go, well, it's not too bad. But I
don't know. For some reason, we're hesitating to demonstrate this amazing product.
Building tension. Boom!
Oh, that was the wrong price. It wasn't $159.
That's what I mean.
I was going to say, hang on, did I read the wrong? No.
No, it was there. It's what it said.
I'm so sorry. It had a bit of the price of the speed. We had a gremlin in our graphics. I do apologise. Right. I was going to say, as I was saying that, I'll be honest, I was thinking, 160 quid for 2 Abso Dries. That can't be right. And it's like, hey, you know, I'm just paid to say what's on the screen. But
I like it from $39.99.
From $39. It's not. It just why does it say from 30? It just is $39.99. I do apologise. Something's gone wrong with our graphics tonight. It's from $39.99 to $39.99.
Yeah. But you know what? When these were launched, and I helped launch these, 35 quid each. And some places were selling for $39.99 each. So the fact that you're getting 2 of these for...
So say that again, how much was it when we individually?
Individually we were $34.99.
Ooh!
Some places were selling for $39.99. Then they did a special of $29.99 each for them. But look at that duo pack.
So basically we'd be getting an extra one for a tenner.
That's brilliant. I want to talk you through it, okay?
I don't know what's gone wrong with our graphics because I can't see what the price used to be.
Yeah.
Well, we'll do a reset. I'm awfully sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but it's £40. Basically, you're getting, each one is £20.
Right.
What is it though?
So, okay. So we everywhere suffers. Thankfully, we don't have humidity like we do in Orlando and stuff like that. But what humidity is, and please forgive me if I'm going to teach you to suck eggs here, but we're going to just...
I like eggs.
So me too.
Never sucked one.
Not fermented eggs though.
No.
So basically, moisture in the air, humidity is moisture in the air.
Yeah.
And you hear percentages of it, and you know, if it gets too much, then it can turn to rain, or if it's in here, you see wet coming onto your windows, and you see all of the moisture and stuff like that with humidity. Now, where does moisture in the air come from? Well, it comes from us because we sweat, we breathe. When we breathe out, we're breathing out moisture. That's why you go to bed at night time, and when you wake up in the morning, well, you'll find that there's moisture and your windows are all wet, okay, and things like that. And you might then see things like, what was
No, you just seem very low down in your chair.
It's the smallest chair in the world.
Carry on.
It is the smallest chair in the world. Look at my knees. Look at they're up here.
I know, mine too.
More like that. Yeah. And they're really hard as well. My bum has gone numb.
Has it?
That's why I keep moving.
I think I heard it snoring.
Yes, you probably no. That was something else.
Oh.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, where was I? I'm gone.
Oh, sorry. So look at you.
I know, it's mad, isn't it? It is.
Maybe our director can help somewhat. But no, carry on.
No, Kieran won't. He will leave me like
No,
that.
I know he will. I know. Yeah.
'Cause that's just. You probably go up now or something like that. Yeah, but so moisture
Masterclass
the air.
in television framing.
This is not for huge problems with moisture. So if you need a dehumidifier that you plug in to take out moisture because it's a big problem in your house, damp and stuff like that, this is not for you. But this is for everyday reducing the levels of moisture. So in your bathroom, so you're not getting so much just steamed up mirrors. Or if you do, that they will unsteam, de-steam, whatever the word is, a little bit quicker. It's for things like if you feel when you go in to get your clothes in your wardrobe, they feel a little bit damp and not so good. Or if you were storing things away, I've got loads of Elvis records.
Yes.
I keep one of these in the cupboard where they are because I want the moisture to be kept away from it.
Yeah.
I don't want mold and moisture growing on them. So this really is fantastic. So what it does basically is it takes passively, well actively, but it just sits there. Don't plug this in. You don't need batteries. You don't need to recharge. You don't need to do anything. You leave it sit there and it will reduce the moisture in the room.
Yes.
And I'll talk you through how we do that. Now there is a.
Can I just say one very, very quick thing? I had some information from our producer, and there's a part of it I do need.
Listen to the producer.
Well, I do, yes, I do very closely. I have to communicate one thing to you. If you're trying to buy the grey at the moment, the reason we had the error with the graphic, it's priced incorrectly. It's priced at the same price as the Speed Comfort. So we're changing that. So do not order the grey at the moment because it will be $159.99. It's not. But if you're going for the pink, the grey, or the pink, the green, or the blue, they are correctly priced at $39.99. And so, Gemma, all you've got to do is go into the CMS and change the prices. So she's sorting it out. So yes, obviously our merchandising team had a little typo somewhere.
Yes.
So yeah, we'll let you know once the grey is available to order at the correct price. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So let me talk you
must
through
stop
this.
sending them hampers of wine.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, okay, that's it. We should actually tell people what this does because it's a really amazing product.
No, it genuinely is. So I'm going to unbox this for you and I'm going to talk you through a most incredible environmental story as well. So do you see this cardboard that it's in? Okay,
Yep.
you'll see that it's made here. Look, you can see made in Switzerland.
Uh-huh.
So the cardboard that it's in has been made from recycled material, and this is recyclable.
Aha.
Now you might say, come on, cardboard's been recyclable for a long time. Yes, it has, but this is. So just letting you know that, okay? There's more, okay?
Come here,
Inside
and there's
here,
more. That was
okay,
what was the name of that comedian?
Frank Carson.
That's
Frank Carson.
Yeah.
In here, what you have is
That's a cracker!
it's a cracker. That's what I tell him. You have a little QR code. Scan me for the user manual. Now, you don't really need a user manual because this is straightforward as anything. Scan that, it will tell you what it does and how it does it and everything like that. Inside, when you open this, you will have your Abso dry. Okay, now remember I mentioned, no, don't help at all, Rob.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you, pal. Remember I said to you about the box.
I thought you were the expert demonstrator. You didn't
Well, I'm
need
not an
my
expert taker out of the boxer, am I?
help. I didn't know that.
You know, I didn't go to college for that.
I did notice on your CV it hadn't included your ability to remove a box.
Yeah. So there you go. At least it's come to the fore now. Recycled. This unit here is made.
That really tickled me. Sorry. Go on with it for crying out loud.
If you let me.
I know. It's all me.
This unit is made
It's
from
my
over
problem.
70% recycled material.
Is it really?
Okay, and it is recyclable.
And this is so over-engineered. This product. It's such a hassle.
You will never really have to recycle this unless you smash it in pieces, it falls or something.
Right.
But this will last forever if you don't break it, of course,
Right.
because it's what it's made from. So inside here, then we
Up
take
to
off the lid.
forever.
Up to forever. Again, you have a little thing here again with your QR code, talk about Facebook and stuff like that. What we also get inside here is a little paper of how to use it. So that's what you can get digitally if you want.
Right.
But also then we have got our handle. Now, what I'm going to say to you here, Rob, is £20 each when you buy two. Okay, you would
Well, you
expect
get to the whole pack. You do get
you
to.
do get two.
Yeah, it's just two.
£40.
Yeah.
Right? So you would think that some of these things are not going to be made very well. Do you see this little handle here?
Oh, it's so well made, this product.
Just feel that.
Oh, I know. It's
tell-
ludicrously over-engineered. I would have one of these in my home, even if it did nothing.
Yeah.
Because
It's
it
like
just
a
looks
picture
really
of
good
it.
on a shelf or a
Does look really
windowsill.
good.
There's your
So what you
handle
do is thank you very much indeed. You just simply get this and pop it through like so, okay? And then I pull this through and lock it into place. That's done. Now what we have then is we have a bag here of these moisture absorbing crystals. Now what's really important about this is that these are made by a company called Turbolin. Okay, I think I'm saying that correct.
Right.
In the 70s, Turbolin were the inventors of moisture absorbing crystals. And they are making these. Turbolin made them for about 20 years. They were the only people in the world to do that because they had the rights for it, because they invented it. Then they sold off the license to other companies to make them, but this comes from the original and the best. Now there's a brilliant demonstration I want to show you, okay? I'm just going to rip this open. You should really use a scissors, okay? And there's a line on it for the scissors, but I forgot to get a scissors before the show, but I'm just going to be very caveman-like and just tear this apart. Even the bag is brilliant. Now, just to say as well, this plastic here is recyclable as well. So everything so far has been recyclable. And I have a little demonstration to do with Rob, okay?
Yeah.
So, moisture is everywhere, okay? Now this is the bag.
By the way, I've noted on your CV it didn't also talk about opening bags.
It did, yeah. It didn't, it should say, yeah. It was one of your weaknesses, I said, opening plastic bags.
Opening bags and taking things out of boxes.
Yeah.
But other than that, brilliant.
But yeah, it was my weakness. It was
you got the job, don't worry, you're here.
So what we do is, oh, look at Charlie, she's so awesome, she actually got a scissors. Oh. So what I want you to do is, I want you to feel your hand and feel the moisture in your hand, okay?
Oh, I can feel the moisture.
You can feel, because, you know.
I'm clammy. I'll be honest, I'm clammy.
Just hold that in your hand, just for a couple of seconds, okay? All right? Yeah. Now, do the same thing.
I've done it before. I'm feigning surprise. It's totally.
It tickles you still, doesn't it?
Drier than something that's very dry.
Well, there's.
I was trying to think. I was thinking alcohol and not drinking alcohol, and it's drier than January in the desert.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Because they do dry January, don't they?
They do. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how I got the job, incidentally, while we're actually on the subject.
I'd like to know on your CV. Anyway, here's what happens, okay? So these crystals attract moisture.
No, my hands don't match.
I know,
can I do the other one, please?
Of course you can, yeah.
Honestly, it's like having odd hands.
Do you have OCD?
I do.
I have CDO. It's like OCD, but the letters in the correct order. Thank you, sir. So,
you know, I can applaud without having.
Applaud, yeah.
I've got even hands now.
You can. You can
yeah.
Yeah. So what they designed to do is to absorb moisture, and these little crystals do that. Now, what will happen here is, this is really important for you to know, okay? So, for the first week or so, you will not see water collected in the chamber, and I'll explain that to you in just a second. You say, what chamber? This chamber here. So what will happen is these will attract moisture and hold on to it, and then these crystals will go solid, okay? And then what will happen is they will start to release the moisture, and it will drip out the bottom of the bag into the aforementioned chamber just here. And as it does that, these will slowly absorb as well, or slowly
dissolve.
Dissolve, that's the word I'm looking for, thank you. They will slowly dissolve. And when they have completely dissolved and this bag is empty, that means you replace this. And we do have those replacement bags as well.
So these are moisture-hungry crystals.
Yes.
Their sole job is to leach moisture out of the air,
like
and then die happy.
Yes.
Like a succubus.
And when this bag is empty, right? And it's important to empty the bag now and again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When this bag is empty, this bag is...
It's recyclable. Well, actually, I know the answer, but I'm not going to spoil it.
It's compostable. You can actually
It's compostable.
It's compostable. Now, how does it work and what does it do? So
well, don't ask me. That's what you're here for.
If we look inside here, you can see you've got those little pillars, little columns just here, and you've got the base, which you can see is it's shaped down, so the water drops on there and it drops in.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, these pillars have a job. So when you put the bag of crystals in, what happens is those pillars keep it away from the edge. Yeah. Because what you want to be able to happen is the air to go in here, the moist air, and then to circulate around as we walk in the room, or as if you're using your Speed Comfort, which is circulating the air.
Which will actually help with the moisture reduction.
Making the air move around that, pulling in that moisture, and then dropping it down into the collection chamber, and this will hold around 1 litre before you need to empty it. But don't worry, you don't have to think about emptying it. You don't have to wait for it to fill up to empty.
But you've got the windows. Now, before we show everybody how to empty it, I just want to very quickly say, because I'm conscious of the fact we want to get the price of the grey one fixed, because that's usually the most popular. It is a totally passive device. It's like me. It just sits there looking beautiful. And it also performs a very, very important service. It keeps you dry.
I was going to say something.
I was too, but I can't. It would get me in trouble.
Yeah, but we're all thinking it.
Hi, I'm Rob Locke. I keep people dry. No, I can't see any of the things in my head. Sorry,
No.
not one of them, not one. We're going to take a little pause in a moment. We'll tell you how to order. It's pretty obvious. We've got a phone number, a website. What do you think you're going to do? Psychically beam the order to us? No, not yet. It's in the works, though. It's in the works. But here's a little video to show you how to order and what happens when you've ordered, and also how to follow us on social media, which we would love you to do.
There are 3 convenient ways to place your order with ShopOnTV. Just scan the QR code with your smartphone's camera app to view the current on-screen item. Or go directly to our website, shopontv.co.uk, where you'll find all the products in today's show. Simply add the items you want to buy to your online shopping basket and check out. Prefer ordering by phone? Give our UK-based customer service centre a call on 03333 241 241. Friendly representatives are available to assist you 24 hours a day. Straightforward shopping with ShopOnTV. After you've ordered from ShopOnTV, we aim to deliver your purchases as quickly as possible. Postage and packing charges cover standard UK delivery, which is normally 3 to 5 working days, though depending on the carrier, you could receive your products sooner. Certain items may be offered with expedited delivery for a nominal extra charge. We'll give you a delivery estimate every time you place an order. Not going to be home or prefer to have your packages arrive at a different address? No problem. Just enter the destination information when you check out. Once you pay, it's on the way from ShopOnTV.
Keep up to date with all the latest news, information and special offers from ShopOnTV by following us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok and YouTube. You'll find us at ShopOnTV Live. Be a part of our fun community at ShopOnTV.
The grey option, that's a set at the moment. Don't buy the grey option because it was priced at £159.99. We've reset it in the system. We'll give it a few minutes. We'll let you know once it's available to order at the correct price. £39.99. Now, when we launched these, they were a runaway success. It was £30, I believe, for one. We're now doing £40 for 2 because so many people said we're buying multiples. So this ShopOnTV is all about saving you money. That's what we're here for. We're constantly in pursuit of great products, but also then I'm not going to say what we do to the account managers and people at the companies who determine what prices we're allowed to do on the air, but let's just say we have our ways, we have our methods, we have ways of making them balk at high prices. So I love this product. As I say, do you know, I didn't realise how humid Britain was, having lived in an arid climate for the best part, well, over a decade. But I look at the humidity quite frequently on my weather app, and it's often, on an average day, it's 80, 70, 80, 90%. Really? It's quite high. It surprised me. So there is a lot of moisture in the air. Now, obviously, excess moisture in the air on a cold day can make you feel a lot colder. Yes. When you walk out of a shower and you're still wet, everything feels really cold, right? Well, if you're surrounded by essentially a blanket or air with a high percentage of moisture, then that's going to have a similar kind of effect. This is going to help to take a lot of the excess moisture out of the air.
It really is, and there's a lot of benefits to it as well. Now, okay, so this is not a claim, please, I am not making any claims, but I had a discussion with a friend of mine who suffered from asthma and difficulties in breathing, and found that the unit like this helped their breathing. That's what they found. I'm not telling you you're going to find it, but they found that. It's the story they told me. And the reason that it did that is that the air, because if you think about it, when you're breathing air, well, okay, so when you go off somewhere warm and you step off and the plane opens, you go,
oh, yeah.
And you can't breathe it because it's so heavy, the air, because it's full of moisture. The more moisture in there, the heavier it is, the harder it is to breathe. So if we take some of that moisture out, it becomes easier to breathe. And that's why the high humidity places, you do find that you sweat more and you find it harder to breathe. This is going to help reduce it in your house. But by reducing it, it's going to have things like the moisture and the wet on the inside of your windows in the morning. And therefore, with that draining down and landing on the windowsills and stuff like that, and the surrounds of your window, it can lead to it going rotten because it's wet and it just...
Well, also excess moisture in the atmosphere can lead to mold build-up.
Well, exactly where I was going to go.
Yeah.
Mold build-up in corners and stuff like that.
Sure.
Mold in the bathroom.
Mildew. If it gets on your clothes, if it's particularly humid.
Yeah,
your clothes...
Georgian mildew.
Very good. Wow, that's really going back.
It is going way back.
I don't think anyone in the gallery is old enough to...
Brian, what's his name? They played him Brian something.
Brian, no.
Come to us. But basically, this is going to help. Now, it's going to help as well if you have, let's say, your favourite clothes, your favourite coats or something hung in a particular place or in your wardrobe. When you go outside and you come in with, your clothes are a bit damp and you take them off for your coat and you hang it up somewhere, well, that moisture has got to go somewhere and it will stay inside of your clothes longer. But if you have something like this, it will draw it out and it will take the...
Well, also, as I do, because I live in a flat, and so I have a clothes horse, and when I do my laundry, I put all the stuff in the clothes horse and it stays in the kitchen until it's all dry. So that moisture is all going into the air.
It's going into the air. And also then, because it's going into the air is unable to accept it as quickly and efficiently as before. And therefore your clothes will dry slower. And then sometimes you can get that musty smell from your clothes when you've dried them like that. And that's why, because there's too much moisture and they're not drying quickly enough. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to change all of that. This is something that sits there.
It's not a miracle product, but it is a really good product.
But it is a great product to take that air, constantly taking
one of the things, one of the reasons if you do go to hot climes like Florida, where it's very humid, and I think a lot of British viewers will have done Florida, so they'll understand what it's like when you come out the airport, Miami airport or something, and you just hit by this blanket of heat. The moisture, not only can it make things musty, but it also... I had a point, and I can't remember. I had a really good point. It's just completely gone.
While you're thinking about that, let me tell you another little thing that's brilliant. Okay, so moths become...
Oh, yes.
Moths love moisture. They love clothes that... Well, it's actually the moth larvae that eat the clothes, not the
is
moth
that right?
themselves. Yeah. But they love it. So if they find, your wardrobe is a little bit kind of damp in there, they love that. This will help that. It will keep taking that moisture out.
What I was going to say is, it came back to me, one of the reasons that you sweat like a banshee, a particularly sweaty banshee as well, is because when you perspire, which is obviously our body does that for it to evaporate to make us feel cooler, it's got nowhere to go because there's 100% humidity in the air. It's literally, there's nowhere for that water to go.
Exactly. And therefore it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's not...
Evaporating?
Evaporating.
Yeah.
And it's the evaporation.
We're doing well tonight, aren't we?
We are doing good, yeah. Thank God there's two of us in it.
I think we're past it.
It's the evaporation that cools us down.
Yeah.
So it evaporates and takes the heat away with it. So therefore, if you're sitting there and it's not evaporating so quick, you do get hotter. But this is great because, as I said, the air is going in, but what's happening then is you can see just here on the front of this, you have this little window and you can see 500, 750 and then 1 litre, okay, and it's full when it gets there. Don't worry, you can empty it as often as you want. If you see it just filling up to there, empty it. But you won't see anything in this collection chamber for the first week or so.
Why?
Okay, because it's holding on to that moisture, and then once it gets super saturated, then it will start to drip it through.
So the crystals hold a certain amount of moisture before they can't hold any more.
The bag of these crystals will can last up to 90 days. Now, again, because I say this to you, I always say up to 90 days.
Yes.
The reason I say that to you, up to, and I'm always frank and open with you, is that if you put this in a bathroom and you've got mum, dad, 2 kids, and there's showers and baths going on, it may because it's taking more moisture out, it may last 60 days or 70 days or 80 days. But if it's in just a bedroom or something like that, you're going to get 90 days from it. So it's 3 months.
And we have refills online if you want to get. Yeah, they are available. Pack of 2. They are online at shopontv.co.uk. So, and in fact, actually, they're on the bottom of the screen as well if you want to order them by phone.
I would genuinely suggest you get those. So you'll all see the water level just here. Now, as I turn it around, you've got a plain side, and then you've got the NM Abs dry here. But this is the clever bit, okay? Yeah. Because you don't have to dismantle and take the crystals out and stuff like that to empty it. So all you do is you simply get your unit and you twist the lid, and now you pour out, whether it's down the sink or down the loo or whatever. When you're finished,
Into your plants? Can you put no?
No.
We kill your plants?
I wouldn't, and I I was meant to find out that. I don't think you can because of the crystals.
Right.
Even though they are environmentally friendly, I am going to find that out.
Okay.
But
So,
don't use it on the
yeah,
plants
watch
just
this
yet.
space. I
But
certainly don't
if
drink
you
it.
do have a regular plug-in dehumidifier, the water that comes out of that is brilliant for your plants. I just don't know about this one as my earpiece falls out. I'm not sure about this one. I will find that out.
That would be good to find out because then you'd get basically free water for your plants.
Yeah, water for the plants out of the atmosphere.
In very, 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 very humid climes, there are products in America, I don't know if you can buy them here, that all they do is they basically draw water out of the air. So you get free water. Yeah, and you can get quite a lot of it, actually.
And drinking water, is it clean enough to drink?
Yeah,
That's clever. Now, one of the things what I want to say about this is that you can see sometimes those ones, you can get them for, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 quid. Those little things that have the crystals, and they're horrible looking things. You get them in DIY stores. They're terrible looking, and if you see them in someone's house, you go, oh, they've got a problem. You know, you see this and you don't. You wonder, oh, what's that?
They think you've got the latest Alexa or something.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. Boop, boop, in everyone's house. You're going,
You get, people will come, they'll try to talk to it.
do you know what you should do with your smart speaker if you're in someone else's house?
Yeah.
Ask it to wake you up at 4 a.m. with spooky noises.
Oh.
And then at 4 a.m. then all the spooky. And
We used to play this game on ITV. Okay. Alexa, wake me up at 4 a.m. with spooky noises.
he did it. He did it.
Just in case somebody's fallen asleep in front of the telly.
Brilliant. That's brilliant.
What's the other one? Not Alexa. There are a couple of them, aren't they? What's
Siri and stuff
Siri?
like that.
Oh, yeah.
I said to my daughter one day, right, because you know, we go, hey Siri, right?
Yeah.
So of course my accent, and my daughter was trying to unlock my phone. I said, I'm not unlocking the phone. She went, hey Siri, and she put on an Irish accent, and I said, I'll give you 20 quid if you can mimic my accents, my voice.
Yeah,
so much.
yeah.
So when she went, hey Siri, and it opened.
No way.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it's like with face recognition that used on phones and computers. It actually only recognises a very general area. So,
Is it?
yeah, I mean, you can have, if you don't normally wear glasses, you can put glasses and.
Yeah, I
things
went
that
on and
still
off it works. Yeah,
recognise,
yeah.
Yes, it's not quite as secure as everybody likes to think that.
Yeah, I put it on. It goes, yep, it's big head. But back to this brilliant product. Remember the recycling story as well.
Yes.
Everything about it is recyclable or compostable. It's a great product, and I'm just showing you the pink one here. You can get any of the 4 colors you want, and it's funny because the thing is, the pink one is never the most popular, and I think it's a great one to have. You know, perhaps in a bedroom or in the bathroom. I think it would look very pretty there.
I think, the thing is, it's not a like a real blush pink.
Yes.
It's not a. Forgive me for if this is a. So I hope it's a PC thing to say. It's not a girly pink.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's a very subtle sort of off-white kind of pastel pink.
But exactly the word I was going to use. The 4 colors.
Oh, you can order grey now.
Yay!
Grey's available. Go, 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 go.
Yes.
Here it is. We got it fixed. $39.99. Not for 1, but for 2. Abso Dry Duo Family Dehumidifiers. There's your blue. Then we've got your green. Lovely. It's like a khaki green. I like that. I don't know why they call it that because my car keys aren't green. And there's your pink. And remember, you do get 2 of each colour. Basically, so you're saving a third. They're a third off each one.
Don't ask me to say that word.
No, I won't.
No.
That's why I often wondered, now who was it? Sean Connery. How did he ever in polite company ask them to sit?
Oh, yes.
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 Why don't you... take the weight
Or
off
if
your
he
feet?
asked somebody to sit on his knee, that would be very...
Oh, yeah. Or his lap.
Yeah,
Why don't you just
yeah,
on my lap?
yeah.
Yeah.
We digress.
We do. So that's the Abso Dry, a very popular product, a really cool product. As I say, it's way higher quality than it really ever has any right needing to be. But that just goes to show what an amazing product it really is. It's super value for money, performs an excellent service. And once people have these, they just, and I know Sean and Haley, our other presenters, have them.
Yeah.
They swear by them. They would not do without them now because it's about what it's essentially doing. For about, if it's what are the refills, about 12, well, I didn't see the price of them, but for 3 months, it's about a £5 a month to buy extra comfort for your living space.
just making life that little bit more comfortable. And it's not something you're going to go, oh, the difference is incredible, but you will see that water collecting in the bottom.
Especially,
and you will go, well, I didn't breathe that.
If you put them on windowsills and things like that, then if it can help to reduce, what do you call it, condensation, then that...
Condemnation.
Condemnation. You are a sinner. I mean, I've had cracks in my windowsills because of condensation and things like that, and so it's potentially saving you from damage too.
No, they're brilliant, and have them in all of the rooms at this price. I mean, even if you think you've got 3-bedroomed house, kitchen room, you get 6 of them. It's 40. What is it for 2? 40 quid.
40 quid.
120 to do your whole house.
Quid, yeah, to do exactly.
But certainly have one in the main.
Colours. They look great in the bathroom. They look great in the kitchen. They look
do you
great
know
in the
as well? Now this is something, again, I'm not claiming this, but I did read. Okay, and I've read lots, and I'm always checking things out. That it is suggested, right? And I have to use these words, that the lower the moisture level in your bedroom, the less chance you have of snoring. Higher humidity can create more snoring. So by dropping it a little bit with that, it may help.
Yeah, it's been dry in my bedroom for many years, Alan. And that's why I don't snore. Anyway, moving on. Let's go back to our star product for the night, which it's what the radiator is lacking.
Yes.
It completes the radiator. It's adding circulation, active, clever, intelligent circulation to your radiator, which could save you up to 22% in your energy bills based on a few criteria that we will cover. Obviously, mainly the type of home that you are trying to heat, that you are using sufficient number of these to heat is it heat? Is that the right word? To disperse the heat in a room efficiently, and also that you turn your thermostat down a couple of degrees and even turn the heat of the water on the boiler down a couple of degrees.
But I think quite naturally you will find, once you start using these, that if you can hear noise in the background, it's a kettle boiling.
It's a kettle, yeah.
I'll tell you exactly.
We're parched.
Because it's putting the air out and it is circulating it more in the room. You're not getting those cold spots in a room. And we all know that if you're sitting by the radiator, you can feel the heat more. Whereas if you sit at the other end of the couch, it can be cooler.
Yeah.
And therefore, that's because it's radiating heat. It's called a radiator.
Yeah.
It's radiating that heat, but it's not radiating it across all of the room. And this here, Speed Comfort, is drawing in the air from underneath and pushing it up over the grills and through the fins in here, and taking that heat and then circulating it around the room. Therefore, genuinely, and the claim on this is that it can heat your room up to the temperature you're asking it on your thermostat up to 50% quicker. Okay, it's not going to be that in all cases, but it can do that if you've got enough of them on and your radiators and so on, up to 50% quicker. That means...
But that's a lot, because one of the things central heating is quick.
Okay, let's...
You walk into a room, it's freezing. It takes half an hour before you start.
It does.
Your cockles are busy wasting away.
They are. So let's just say, for instance, it does take that, an hour for the temperature. If you've got it on 21, it takes an hour for the thermostat to be turned off, because that's how long it takes to heat the room up or your house up. If you do this, that will could turn itself off, and even call it 40 minutes. But that's 20 minutes of power that you're saving of trying to heat the room, and it's doing it more efficiently. It's making the whole thing more comfortable in your room. Everyone is getting that heat as well. It's just nicer. As you said, when you get one of those fan heaters, you genuinely find that it's nicer in the room because it's blowing the air around and everyone gets
because radiated heat is passive.
Yes.
It doesn't do anything. It gets hot around the heat source. And that hot air then naturally rises. Now, as the hot air rises, it does draw some cool air towards the heat source, which then gets heated and rises, and in turn, so you do get what is called a natural convection current. That's what convection is, where it's the displacement of cool air with hot air and so on and so forth. But it's relatively minimal. This actually is active. This is actually using 3 very high quality fans. It's drawing air from everywhere in the room, even the right in the distant back of the room where it's coldest, towards the radiator. The radiator's heating it up, and then the hot air is being pushed up forced up through the radiator and to the ceiling and back towards the end of the room, and then so you get this massive recycling of or circulation of air that is designed. The whole point of this is it's designed to make the whole of the room feel like an even temperature. When you use this, you will not only, as you said, very likely find that everything heats up a lot quicker, particularly the parts of the room that normally would be cold for quite a while until it reaches a temperature. You can also turn the thermostat down a couple of degrees, because now you don't need to crank the heating up at the source, at the radiator, to heat a part of the room that's several feet away, because this adds that extra efficiency. So you can turn your thermostat, if you have a central thermostat, you can turn it down a couple of degrees. If you have a radiator with a knob thermostat on it, you can turn that down a couple of degrees. Maybe instead of having it on max, you can turn it down to whatever is comfortable, and you'll play with it for a little bit till you find the sweet spot. If you have a gas boiler, you can turn the gas boiler down a little bit as well, so it's not physically having to heat the water as much, so you can save on gas. You'll save on electricity by using this, because it uses very little electricity. And overall, if you do all of those things, you could be seeing as much as up to a 20% reduction in your energy bill for when you heat your home, which is these days, why don't you calculate what your last heating bill was?
It's actually up to 22%.
Up to 22%, yeah.
But it does things so much better.
That's about £15 a month for me.
Yeah, that's actually quite a bit, and that's why actually they say to you that they've done all the calculations, and that if you use this correctly, what you will do is that you will get payback on this in the savings that you have. You'll get payback in about 2 years. Now you might say, well, 2 years is a long time to get payback, but actually in that 2 years, let's just address that first. In that 2 years, what you're getting is you're getting more comfort in your house. So for that 2 years, you've got comfort. It's getting hotter quicker. You're obviously using less power as well, less energy, but the whole room is more comfortable. But then after the 2 years you've got your payback, you are guaranteed, right, that if anything happens with that unit, they will replace it for you for another 8 years. Wow. So then you've got 8 years of that beautiful comfort and saving money. So by the end of its guaranteed life, which is 10-year guarantee with this, okay, you really have got so much from this just by the way of.
So actually, you're really getting the product for free.
Well, absolutely.
Because let me clarify. It's ultimately going to potentially pay for itself within a couple of years. I mean, if it will eventually pay for itself, the exact time we cannot calculate. It depends on your personal heating circumstances. But the fact is that because it's guaranteed for 10 years, eventually those savings that you get, even if you don't get the full 20 up to 20 or the full 22%, even if you only get 10%, for me, so that's £6 a month. So that's 70 quid a year that I would on 10% based on my direct debits each month. The point is, eventually it will pay for itself, certainly way within that, I would imagine, that 10-year guarantee period. But then once it's paid for itself, you get all those savings that you wouldn't have if you didn't have the unit. So not only is it paying for itself, but you will be paying potentially up to 22% more every single month on your energy bill that you definitely won't save if you don't have this. So by having this, you can potentially save up to 22%. Somewhere in that region, in that margin, and because of those savings the product will pay for itself. But once it has paid for itself, you then have years and years and years of continued energy savings that are not costing you anything.
Absolutely. And for that 10-year guarantee as well, and they actually reckon the lifespan is 14 years. For that 10 years that you're guaranteed, yes, you're saving money long term, but actually what you're getting as well is even more than that, because what's happening is you're getting the benefits of it. So let's forget about getting your money back. It's the benefits of it, because it's heating the room quicker. It's not giving you cold spots the same, because it's moving that air around. So your whole room and house is more evenly heated. So it's making it more comfortable. So you're getting that benefit as well.
Yeah, even if you don't care about the money, maybe you've got loads of money.
Loads of money.
You don't care, but it's just it makes it more comfortable in the room.
Yeah.
Conduction, convection, and conduction, and it was conduction that I was forgetting about. Is the other way that heat is moved around conduction.
It's great. Can I show you how it
No.
goes in? No, okay.
Oh, Alan, we're on telly.
There is.
You hate it when presenters do that because it's so pathetic.
It isn't it just, yeah.
Just no one's buying it. No one's buying it.
Yeah.
We weren't asleep. Of course we were. We're on live television.
I was.
Who could sleep on
I
ITV1?
had a cat nap.
Did you?
I did, yeah.
I just sleep in my dressing room. I come to work so I can catch up on my sleep.
He sleeps. He's like, oh,
I sleep sitting up. I do,
does.
because I never have a moment to myself otherwise. Yeah, how does it work?
When you plug this in, so I want to show you the unit itself. So what you'll do is you have two of these little things here. So these little
Power inlets.
power inlets, okay? Now, it doesn't matter which of these you plug in your power cable to, okay? It doesn't matter. This one or this one. The other one is for your thermostat. Now, you say, what thermostat, Al? Well, this is the thermostat just here. And I'll explain what this is for and what it does in just a moment.
Yes.
Now, if we don't use that thermostat and I just plug it in, okay, what will happen is those fans will start. Let me just turn it off so you can see them move, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. In.
So power on.
Power on. Now I'm going to bring this right up to my microphone and listen to how quiet this is.
Alan, we can't hear anything.
Good. That's the point. Okay?
Ah.
Those fans are on. Now, the brilliant thing about this is that this doesn't just turn, it's not on, blowing cold air around the radiator as it's heating up. So this thermostat works brilliantly, okay? So watch what happens to those fans the minute I plug the thermostat in. The unit is so clever, it knows and it stops those fans. Now, what's controlling the fans coming on and off is the thermostat. And I've got a little demonstration to show you that in action, okay?
Alan in his demos. I always look forward to an Ennis demo.
An Ennis Dems. So what I'm going to do is I brought this in from home. At the moment, all my spatulas and everything are all strewn on the side.
I wondered what it
They go
was.
in there. Well, it's metal, you see, and you need it to be there. And I'll show you how it works on the radiator in a second, so bear with me for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the hot water in here, which basically is mimicking the hot oil or the water going through your radiator and heating the radiator.
Yes.
I'll show you where it goes in.
Presumably this is only working on water-based central heating radiator type systems.
No, any system, as soon as it gets warm, it will know the difference.
So what about is it convection heaters and things like that, or?
Yeah, well, any radiator though is just using oil or water that's running through it. So,
okay.
Yeah, so you're using liquid. So
If the product fits,
then
it works.
So watch this, okay? Now we know this is hot here, okay?
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is the fans are not on, but as soon as I stick this to this, you ready for this? Stuck to it now, and it's now recognizing there's heat here. You can see.
And the fans come on.
Okay.
So when you say thermostat, it's really a heat sensor.
It's a heat sensor.
It knows when the radiator turns on to turn the fans on.
Now,
and when the fans are not on, or the radiator's not hot when it's cool,
yes,
the fans are off.
The fans are off, and there is no standby. When it's on standby, it's not working. It is not consuming
any electricity.
Zero.
And when it is, even if it ran 24 hours a day, how much roughly?
Well, the working of it is to say that it costs around 30 to 40p a year to run this, but that's
a year.
A year. But that's
30 to 40 pence
a year.
A year,
yes.
I thought that you said a month.
No, a year.
A year?
A year. It uses like literally no electricity. It's just
based on how much usage?
Based on the average house. So if you have your heating on 6 hours, 8 hours, but just an average usage of it. If you have your heating on 6 hours a day.
One unit.
Yeah.
30.
About 30. They calculate 31p.
A year.
Yes, a year. It's using nothing.
Did he did say a year,
I did.
right?
I did say a year. Rob, did I stutter?
I need an O face.
Rob is now in his, let me tell you folks, right, what's going on right now, okay, in Rob's head, he's going, oh my goodness, I hope it is a year now, because Alan has said it's 31p roughly a year, that's on average, okay? I hope that's right, because we've said this.
Spread the boat out, I don't care if it costs a 50p a year.
Yeah.
That is
I know.
That's ludicrous. And is that just for one block of 3?
That's for this here. That's for this. This here is usually...
Right, so if you've got 2 of them, it might cost you 60p a year.
Yeah.
And if you're using all 4 of them, it might cost you £1.20 for a whole year.
Yeah. And the thing about this is, I mean, so what happens basically, this is why it's so good. I'm gonna actually just load one up here onto this radiator. So
yeah, because we need to know what type of radiator.
So
now, what type of radiators does it fit?
Okay, it will do the majority of radiators. Okay, there's not so any radiator with a front and a back.
So a single fin won't work.
Okay, single fin
front and back
won't
and a
work.
gap.
Front, back and a gap. Okay.
Yeah. Front, back, and a gap.
So
bit like me. That's exactly. I've got a front, a back, and a gap.
I want you to imagine that this is. Well, actually, tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to lay this on the floor, okay? Because then it's easier to show you. Okay. Let me take this out of the way first. I've got a beautiful story to tell you.
It's not the first time you said that, is it?
No, I'm saying nothing. So I want to tell you a beautiful story about this is where it's made as well, because this is actually made in Holland, okay? And I want to tell you why it's made in Holland and why they have said that they are never ever going to outsource the manufacturing to, let's say, China or something like that, okay? So, you ready for this? So when you put this in...
Oh, by the way, Kim was upset that I didn't mean Kim, right? Kim, sorry. I apologise. Kim, right? K-I-M. For the information about conduction, I apologise.
So I couldn't email that in?
Yeah, I couldn't quite hear what my producer was saying because Alan's very loud. And so I didn't catch your name. I do apologise. So, Kim, thank you very much. And I will ask for lots of different types of information clarification. So if you don't mind being on standby, ready for a quick Google, you can be our sort of knowledge assistant. Yeah, because we need one of those.
We do. We'll be good here, actually.
Sorry. Anyway, back to the... Honestly, this is really good. So that's how you fit it.
Okay, that's how you fit it.
Can you show it again? Because I don't even remember seeing you do it.
Yeah, it's very good. Let me pull this up. Okay. Radiators are heavy things. Yeah. So basically, what we'll see is, you'll see here on both sides, you have these little strips here, okay, that move, okay? Yeah. And they move because of the difference in the width of the gap. So mind the gap.
So they adapt automatically to the width of the radiator gap.
When you get this and you put this down, now I know you can't see this, but
well, let's make this.
Well, if I tilt it, they'll fall out.
I see.
So when you put this in,
oh, there we go.
You see the magnets have jumped. Actually, let's show that they've gripped. Now that's protruding here, okay? So what should happen is they would fit in.
You'd put it in not on television, of course, usually.
Pop down, exactly.
Yeah.
And it would pop in like that. Okay.
And so if you've got a wider gap, what is the maximum width that they will extend to?
That's a really good question. That's a really good question.
Thanks.
I don't know. Well, actually, I can answer that, okay? That wide.
Right, so what width is that radiator, do you know? Okay, this is going to be a string of asking Alan questions he doesn't know the answer to. So that's a standard.
Standard.
What? Oh, sorry, we haven't got a tape measure. So about an inch wider than that.
Yes, it will still go wider. Yes, it does. Yeah.
Yeah. You can't trust our measurements anyway because we're men.
Get this side up, so you pop this in anyway. Let me get back to my work.
Kim, can you help? What's the width of a standard radiator?
The things we have to do. The things we do for love. So squeeze this in and put that right down into the bottom, okay? So it's in there. It's being held by those magnets inside there. Yeah. So now what we do is we plug this in, and of course you have your power cable, okay? And it's quite a long power cable. I will show you that in just a moment, okay? I'll plug this out here. No, there it is.
Good.
There's your power cable here, which is about, let me actually just say that to you, because this is the time of the morning. I'm not forgetting some things because my brain is saying that I should be asleep. There we go. So that's the length of that. So that is about a meter.
That's about a meter, okay. Yeah, slightly over, I'd say. Yeah.
So about a meter just over is the length of the cable. But you also get an extension to that as well. So if you need a little bit more, you can do that. So when you plug this in, you plug it into the side of the unit, just here, okay? And that gives it power. And then you also get that thermostat as well. And the thermostat is the really clever bit of this. Because what happens is, you've got information.
Oh, it's on the box.
Go on, tell us.
In doubt. For radiators, 50 centimetres to 120 centimetres.
Yes.
But the gap is
that's the length of the
equal to or greater than 70 millimetres.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, 70 millimetres.
So that means the unit must be 7 centimetres in.
Yeah.
If in doubt, read the box.
Read the box.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
which I normally do.
Yeah, me too.
But I trusted you instead to know it.
You did, yeah.
Well, we all make mistakes.
We do. But Rob won't be letting me make those mistakes again because I'm never coming back.
No, stop.
You know it.
Are you kidding? You're my lift home. I wish you were here every weekend.
So I'm going to leave that protruding like that so we can see everything, okay? So now what we do is, when you put this underneath your radiator, now this is upside down, you do understand.
Yes.
You will get your thermostat, it's got magnets built into it just here, and then you stick that to the side of your radiator, like so. Okay, now you can put it down like that, stretch it so you're hiding that.
Yeah,
just
doesn't matter where it is. Really.
Doesn't matter where it is, okay, but it is best closer to the top actually. So it would be that is right if you turn it up.
Yeah.
So now what will happen is that it will wait. That thermostat will wait for the radiator to come on.
Yes.
So it's not on blowing the cold air around your room. So it's waiting. It says, okay, the radiator's up to temperature. I'm now going to engage. I'm going to switch on, and it will then start to draw the air in and fire it up through the fan, up to the radiator, and out into the room, and thus genuinely heating up the room up to 50% quicker.
Up to 50% quicker. That, honestly, I hated the fact the thing I miss most. One of the things I miss most about living in the States is that you don't really, central heating is not a thing there. So, I mean, it depends where you live. Sometimes they don't have any heating at all. But I always used to make it a point to live in buildings that had central heat and air, because you turn the heat on and it just comes out of a big fan that's blown into the room, and within minutes you can feel the effects. When it's cold in this country and you turn with a typical sort of gas boiler central heating, or in my case electric boiler central heating system, it takes at least half an hour before I start to feel warm. And so if I can get warm within 15 minutes rather than, and I'm sure you'd start to feel slightly warm very quickly, because as soon as the radiator's hot, the air is being blown from the hot part at the bottom, which is where the pipes come in. That's the hottest part of the radiator, isn't it, initially, anyway? So you're going to start to feel the effects, I would think, very, very soon as the radiator starts to get warm.
Yeah, and also then remember, because it's blowing it around and it can heat the room up to 50% quicker, that means your thermostat is turning itself off up to 50% quicker, which means you're saving energy. And that's why they come up with on average 22% saving on electricity, on
and you can, so tell me what else people can do in terms of saving energy with this. What are the two sort of primary things that need to be done?
So I've had one of these in a couple of these around the house for the last while, and yes, of course I notice a huge difference, but they say you can actually turn your thermostat down. So instead of like putting it at 21 degrees, because what happens is
a couple of degrees?
A couple of degrees down. Yep. So if you think about your room, let's say this box here is the room. Your radiator is this little bit of this graphic.
Yeah, the QR code.
Okay, the QR code. And this one here is your thermostat. They're on the opposite side of the room, because if your thermostat was over here beside the radiator, it would turn itself off really quickly in the radiator.
Yeah.
So they place it on the opposite side of the room, so the whole room is hot, even the furthest reach, before your thermostat turns off. So what this is doing is, because it's circulating that air around and it's pushing it out into the room quicker, it's heating the room quicker. So therefore, when the room is heating quicker, the thermostat is recognizing that it's reaching temperature quicker, and it can turn itself off sooner. So you're saving some energy there.
Yeah.
But also, when you have a boiler that's heating the water...
But also, can we just add to that? You also don't need the temperature as high.
Yeah.
Because the reason that we turn the thermostat higher, the reason I do it, is because the rest of the room doesn't get hot enough otherwise. Yeah. But then you end up with like a blast furnace over here, and then it's really, really relatively cold over there.
This basically makes the
evens it out.
Evens it out.
So turn your thermostat, if you've got a central thermostat, turn it down by a couple of degrees. So you're going to save energy there. And if you've got the thermostat on the radiator, just turn the knob down a bit.
Turn it down a little bit.
Yeah.
And then also, again, they're saying to me when I was talking to the guys, and I haven't done this myself as yet, is that you can actually turn your boiler temperature down, because it doesn't need that level of hot water being forced around it.
I mean, if you think about it,
heat the room up.
Boiling water is I don't even know what temperature water gets up to in a central heating boiler, but I imagine quite hot. I mean, it's like a kettle, isn't it, basically?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But you wouldn't bath in kettle water, would you? Because you'd scald yourself.
What do
you reckon the average bath is temperature-wise? Kim, do you know average temperature of a bath? I bet you even if it's 50, 60 degrees, I'm guessing, something like that. So the point is, you don't need and a huge amount of heat to feel comfortable. You only need a huge amount of heat in a central heating system because that radiator's got to blast the heat out into a massive room. This is the part of the radiator that is missing. This is the part of the radiator that wasn't included in the original design. This completes the radiator because it adds active circulation. So again, we talked about, you've got through like an archway and a through lounge, haven't you?
Yeah, through into
so
the
I've got
dining
my
room and
lounge,
kitchen.
yeah, and so then I've got my kitchen and my lounge are together. It's probably about 30, no, probably more than that, 40 feet length, I would say, something like that. So the kitchen's always cold, and where I sit by the sofa, where the radiator is by the window, it's really, really hot. Now that's the other thing, actually, it's right by a window. So sometimes, I imagine because there's a vent at the top of the window, a lot of the heat's going out the window as well. But this is going to draw, because it's a fan, and you don't need a big fan to draw air from quite a distance. So it's going to be drawing air from out in my kitchen, for example, and it's going to be bringing it through the radiator, heating it up, shooting it up to the ceiling, which will then force it back down into the room, and then that process is going to put an extra syllable on there. That process is going to repeat. So it's giving you continuous circulation of warm air, and because of that, I think that evenness of temperature, you won't need as much heat because it doesn't take a lot to heat me up, baby. But I do find it's just sitting next to my radiator, it's just too much.
Yeah.
And then I go to turn it off at the thermostat, and I'm like, it's cold over here.
Yeah, because you do get those hot spots and those cold spots.
Yeah.
And this is going to help negate that. It's going to help get the whole thing more evenly heated around your house. But also then remember as well, another benefit to this is that when the thermostat reaches, let's say even if it reaches they say it can be up to 50% quicker. Let's say if instead of an hour, if it took an hour normally, if this took 40 minutes, you're still saving 20 minutes of heating of the radiators. Yeah. But also then that heat that's in the radiator is going to be used to better effect, because even though the thermostat's turned off, that hot air is still there, and with the fan, with the speed comfort, it's still spreading that around the room, keeping the room warmer for longer.
Well, I was going to say, look, at the end of the day, it's impossible for us to quantify exactly how much energy you're going to save. You'll know once you get your bill. You'll be able to see for yourself how much energy you've saved over the course of the next month. Some people will save more than others. That's just a factor of it. But I don't think it even really matters. The chances are good that if you do the things we said, if you turn your thermostat down, if you use enough of these, so make sure if it's a double radiator, you use 2 of them. If it's a single radiator, you use 1. The chances are you're going to save some money, which is great. And the chances are eventually the units will pay for themselves. But at the end of the day, money savings are nice, but they're not they are irrelevant. They're not important if you're not feeling the benefits for yourself. This gives you comfort at a very good price. The smart radiator fan, made in Holland. I love that.
It's brilliant.
And tell that story again. By the way, this has been a really strange night. I'm in a really silly mood tonight, but I've had to resist it.
Literally, when are you not is correct.
Well,
the story, this is brilliant, okay? And look, this is, actually, I was going to say it's a little thing. It's not, actually, genuinely.
It's a big thing.
So these here, when you get these at home, you will see that the quality of these is great. Now, I talked to the guys out in Holland about this, and I was talking to them about it, and they said, I've got a great story to tell you, because what they're all about basically is these are the company that make this, that come up with the idea before anybody else of using fans to get the room heated quicker
from a radiator.
Okay,
Yes,
with a
and
radiator.
it's so standard in a lot of other heating systems.
Yeah,
isn't
it is. Yeah,
It's
fans,
kind of like a
got it.
basic.
But what they did is they came up with it, and this is their latest incarnation, and they reckon they're very best. But this is made in Holland, and the reason that it's there, and they swore they would never ever farm this out to be made in
China or India or
China,
wherever.
wherever it might be. It's going to remain there, because the factory where this is put together on the assembly line, where these are hand built, hand put together, believe it or not, they put together by hand. There's 40 plus workers, and they are all learning disability people. And basically they said what they do is the working environment that they provide is extraordinary, because what they say is, yeah, we let them work whenever they want. If they say, yeah, on a Monday I want to come in and do this, or I want to do that, I want a short day today, I want a long day today, no problem. They let them do what they want to do, which I think is the most beautiful thing. And he was saying to me, and I can't remember his name, how to pronounce it, but he said to me, he said, Ali, so when you go into the factory, and if I ever go over, he's going to bring me, he said, it is the happiest place you've ever been.
Yeah.
Everyone is so happy to take a break when they want. The workers, they do that, and it's just, I think it's beautiful.
We'll take cameras over there sometime.
Yeah, I think it's more important to get you there first, though, than cameras.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, me in Holland. Oh, hey.
Yeah.
Imagine.
No,
it's not.
So that's how they put together, they're hand put together, and they're just
I
brilliant.
wish you could hear what Gemma just said.
I missed it.
She went cheese and rice, something like that. I think that's what I heard.
Nice.
Yeah, I've never been to Holland. No, I've driven through it. When I drove to Germany, I was engaged to a German lady once, and long ago. And I went to pick her up, and I went to the Hook of Holland and drove through, but never stopped.
I'm glad you said you went to the Hook.
I went. Yes. I went to a Hook. Yes,
Yeah.
I see where you're going there. No.
These are wonderful. By the way, the fact that you get 4 of them as well in this.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
basically what you will receive at home is, by the way, this one is on, you can hear it, and you can't hear it, you can see it, I should say, but
Yeah.
you can't hear it.
These are essentially, these dual packs really are for double radiators. I tell you what I'm going to do, because it's the first time we've done this, and I've learned tonight something that I think is important for the next airing. These do come in a single, they're available as a single and also as a triple. I think at the very least we will stock the single next time, because some people might have single radiators.
But then
and
they will have
obviously-
more than one, though, in their house.
What's that?
They'll have more than one radiator in their house. They'll have them in several
Yes, but
rooms.
this only comes with one plug, doesn't it?
Good point.
So you can't, if you use one, you'd have one spare, you can't power.
Good point.
So either that, or we need to offer additional power cables and things like that. So I've learned this tonight. If you can use this on a double radiator. I think a lot of homes have double radiators. I know I do. So we can get you started. But this is feedback I'm going to give to the merchandising team to make sure that we either stock additional cables or that we just do the single pack, the double pack, and the dual. Because some people have got massive radiators.
Some have got massive radiators.
Yeah. So I'll have that sorted for next time.
Yeah, but super well put together. Remember as well on this, by the way, not just the 1, 2 or 3 year guarantee on these, it's a 10-year guarantee, 10 years of a guarantee. That's really important, and they've done all their calculations, and they actually found that in most cases, in the average cases, that they will have paid for themselves in saving of electricity within 2 years, but they guarantee it for 10. What have you found?
Just remembered something.
What?
I don't know if we'll have to show it on the web, but okay, let's see how good our director is. If you've got a radiator that doesn't have a gap, you can still use this.
You can still
on
use
that.
it, yes. You can have the ones that go around, they're thicker, it'll still stick underneath it, yeah.
Yeah, but even if you don't have any gap at all, because look, if you look here, so I don't know if you can see this, the feet, basically the magnets, the bottom of the magnets will act as feet, so it can sit on top
Of it.
of a
Well,
grill.
you
Yeah.
remember what you get, and you get these little feet here. These are
Yeah.
the feet. So you get these little keys.
Oh, is that what those are?
That's what these are for. So it's not actually the magnets.
Oh, sorry, apologies.
No,
Okay.
that's okay.
Oh,
Let me show
it's
you.
got the extra feet.
So they go in there,
Ah, they've thought of everything.
Like that.
Yeah, so they will fit on top of a grill.
So they will still fit on
even
top
if
of the
there's no
grill.
gap. Yeah, I completely forgot about that.
Let me show you
Yeah.
exactly how it looks then. So if you don't have that and there's still heat coming up obviously from it,
Yeah.
you would use these little feet.
Yeah, as
because
long
what
as the
you
heat
do-
gets into the bottom of the fan so that it can circulate, there you go. So you
Like
can
that.
put it on top of any heater. Obviously, no naked flames or anything like
Yeah,
that. You know,
yeah.
would have to be a.
And that's why they've designed it in such a way that the magnets, if this doesn't go inside the gap of your radiator, flip the magnets around literally like that, and then take that one out, and then what you can do is you can move the magnets in here, move that one in, so they're really close together.
Yeah.
Fit them into, it's literally, I'm going to
Can
say
you, it's there. I can't read it because I haven't got my glasses on, but I can only just about read it.
Right, wide, so the plates, okay,
Yeah.
70 mil apart, okay,
Yeah.
narrow plates.
Ah, I knew I made a graphic for it.
Less than 70 millimeters apart. Single plate.
Hang on a
which
minute.
is
Actually, that's
55
not my
millimeters from
graphic
the
because
wall.
I made a better graphic that actually was bigger and.
It's very lovely.
No, that's not. I didn't do that.
It's still lovely. So yeah, so there you go. So the wide plates is more than 70 millimeters apart. Less narrow plates, less than 70 millimeters apart. The single plate ones, 55 millimeters from the wall. So you can see it fits them on. That's where it goes underneath. So you don't even see it if it's wide enough. And it still draws in that air as well. And super quiet.
Yeah.
Love them. Absolutely love
Apparently, those are my graphics, and I know one of them I extended all the way to the sides.
You
Yeah.
are so clever, sir.
Am I? Why?
Because you are. You just do stuff. You're good.
I do. Well, you know.
Yeah.
I'm a jack of all trades and master of none.
Hey. But no, literally, these are one of the things that you probably didn't even know or thought you needed.
No,
but
I know.
when you actually think about them and what they do, it's brilliant. It's just getting
It's
that
like-
warm
yeah.
air into your room quicker. Therefore, getting your room to temperature quicker means your thermostat goes off sooner, which means it's saving you money. Plus, you're not getting the cold spots in the room. It's literally heating up all of the room for you. And they're super quiet, and they're a neat little product to have. And you don't even have to think about them because this one gives you this little kind of heat sensor just here, which goes on the side of the radiator. So when you turn your radiators off and they go cool again, the machine, the unit will turn itself off, and it doesn't use any standby electricity whatsoever. It doesn't even use a bit. And they say that the average household, where when it's on one of those is on, in an average house, because obviously you're going to use them in the winter only, that you'll only be using about 30-something pence worth of electricity. So they're costing very little to actually run them.
By the way, you can go to their website as well, speedcomfort.co.uk.
It's all on there.
Yeah, it's all on there, and you might be able to get additional accessories. But so yeah, it helps make your home more comfortable, reduces temperature fluctuations, enables energy savings up to 22%, can be installed in an instant, makes very little noise, uses a negligible amount of energy.
Negligible, that was
and
good.
it does say suitable for most radiators and convectors. Magnets allow for easy installation. Complete set here, adapter and thermostat included. 34 centimetres long, use multiple speed comforts in a series for longer radiators. They say use 3 to 5 speed comforts in an average sized living room. Now obviously that's going to be predicated by how many radiators you actually have. If you've only got one radiator in your living room,
you're not going to use
then you're not going to use there's nothing more you can do. So again, this is where the energy savings can vary a little bit. But if you have got 2 radiators in a large living room, then basically put them on all your radiators, because the radiators are going to be rated to heat the room.
That's exactly
So
what I was
the
gonna say,
speed
building
comforts will then have the desired effect, I would imagine.
But no matter what, if look, because when you're building a house, they have to take into consideration the amount of size that they have to heat in the room. They have to take in the insulation and stuff, and say, well, in this room you need 2 double radiators. And if you need 2 double radiators, well then you're going to use what you get, this pack and the other pack, to do that. But if you're still using, if you have 2 double radiators and it still takes an hour to heat the room, I'm just using that hour, this potentially could indeed do that within 30 minutes.
Shh, quick, shh, listen carefully, someone's sleeping. There's something about that makes me so
cute,
happy.
isn't it? But you get the
I always
idea.
wanted to be a fairy.
Did you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wanted to be magical and fly around helping people. You know,
just never
not
wanted to go.
necessarily a fairy. I mean, there are male fairies, aren't there?
Yeah, I'm sure there is.
Yeah. Kim, are they male fairies? Or have they got a different name? I always wanted to be Superman.
I'm going to change her name. Kimipedia.
Kimipedia. I like it.
Be careful. You also
See,
have to
Kim, be careful what you wish for, right?
What superhero would you be if you'd been?
Superman.
Yeah, and people say, "Oh, I want to be Batman." He's
not a
just
superhero.
human.
He's
not
a bloke in a
superhero.
suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Superman. I can do things with my eyes. I can.
Do you know
I can
that?
freeze
All right.
things. I can
Listen,
fly.
enough of this. We got to talk films now.
Go on.
We got 10 minutes left.
5.
5 minutes. 5 minutes. So the best depiction of Superman's power in all of the films and television shows and comics that have ever been produced, to my mind, is, and I know it's not necessarily the most popular film, Superman Returns with Brendan Routh. When he's shot point blank range into the eye, and do you remember the scene? And
Yes.
just literally the bullet crushes on his retina.
Yeah.
And that to me was like, yeah, he's pretty strong.
Yeah. Now, Superman definitely is the guy to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have vivid dreams about being able to fly.
Oh, I do too.
I love it.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm out of control. Last night's dream, actually, funny enough, I was in full control and I was able to fly exactly where I wanted to, and I didn't have to worry. I love it.
Yeah, the trouble is, the more I delve into multiverse theory and quantum physics, which fascinates me and I've been studying for a number of years, yeah, none of it matters, because everybody has a version of themselves where they do absolutely literally everything that's potentially possible. So everybody dies the worst deaths, everybody lives the best lives, everybody's a superhero, everybody's a, somebody living on the street. Everyone gets a chance at everything. So it sucks if you're in a bad version of a reality where bad things are happening to you.
Yeah, but then
just take some solace knowing
but
that
then-
somewhere else.
No, but then in that reality, if bad things happen all the time, therefore are they no longer bad because that's just how things are?
Well, it's just chaos. It's just energy constantly colliding over an infinite amount of time. So I'm glad we sewed that up, obviously, for you.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Professor Brian Cox.
Yes.
What a genius.
My agent, my former presenter agent from years ago, discovered him and built him to the gigantic success that he is today.
Do you know what? I thought there would never be. I know that Sir
Sue
David
Ryder.
Attenborough.
Sue, if you're watching, hello, how are you?
Right, she has a charity too.
Not the same Sue.
Sir David Attenborough will never ever be replaced. The greatest man ever to present a program about natural earth.
Yeah.
But his, like with Professor Brian Cox, who was in D-Ream, okay, things can
Only get better. That's right, he was, wasn't he? Yes.
He is the David Attenborough of the space.
He is phenomenal.
He's just so amazing just to listen to.
Yeah, we were at an agency called Joe Gannett Personal Management. Joe Gannett was Terry Wogan's agent for many years, and in fact, all of the BBC presenters, Ken Bruce and all these various types of people, she was renowned for the presenters she had on her books. And Sue was a new agent that she brought on board, and she brought me on board as one of her first clients back in my early days of pseudo fame. And even Terry's son who's quite a prolific TV chef, was also on the books. Yeah, but Terry would basically, the agency, we didn't know this till later, but the whole agency essentially was run for Terry's benefit, and everybody else was just sort of paid lip service. But, but Terry never he owned half or a percentage of the agency. It turns out
He was a proper
and had
broadcaster.
the opportunity to have made the careers of anyone and everyone who walked through those doors if they weren't already successful.
Very
But
powerful.
unfortunately, he never did it. Not even for his own son. He had a principle that he wouldn't leverage his name in order to help new clients, which is a great shame. So I left the agency.
Can I just say one more thing before, because we are literally running out of time. Thank you very much indeed for watching, and honestly, get yourself a pack of these.
Oh, that's right. We're talking about products, aren't we? I just thought we'd have a 5-minute reprieve.
No, I like it.
That
I
was
liked it a
all,
lot. I liked it, and Charlie is completely riveted by all of that.
A little bit of showbiz gossip,
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, though, if you're going to have showbiz gossip, I can't say it now. If you're going to have some showbiz gossip, you want to do so in a warm, comfortable environment.
Yes,
that's
with
evenly
no cold
heated,
spots, yeah.
with no cold spots. And how can we do that, Alan?
Well, it's very simple. Pick up the phone or go to the web and get yourself some Speed Comfort Smart Air Boost Radiator Fan Twin Pack. Buy 2 packs, 4 fans in total.
I want to see what you're going to be like presenting. I'm not going to see. Can you finish the show?
No, what you see, the thing is I was always a main presenter.
I know you were. I know you were. I remember. Yeah. You were, because you were Top Gear Ireland, weren't you?
Yeah,
You were one
well, it
of
was
the
called something different, but yeah.
Tiff Nadell of
Yeah,
Ireland.
We had the 3 of us, myself and Paddy.
What was it called?
It was called Accelerate first, and
Oh.
it was called the driving seat.
Are you a bit of a driver then?
Oh yeah, I loved it. And then I come over here as I was a car journalist for a long time as well.
Yeah, I know. And I know you presented a lot of. Well, so I'm going to. You can say thank you to me then.
Yeah, well, thank you very much indeed.
You're very welcome.
Here tonight,
Thank you,
Rob Locke.
thank
It's
you.
been a real pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, please do join us again tomorrow evening. What time do we go live at tomorrow evening? Say that again. Blue Magic tomorrow, and just been told. So do join us tomorrow evening.
102,
Charlie.
I think, yeah.
Thanks, 102. Thanks to Charlie on the floor. Thanks to those reprobates up in the gallery as well. Gemma and what's the other guy's first name? I can't.
Chiron.
Yeah, something like that. What's your first name again, Kieran? Thanks to you. Do join us again tomorrow night. Thanks very much for tuning in. Make sure you can still order after the show. Sleep well, and we'll talk to you tomorrow evening. Tune in, Blue Magic.